Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are talking Dexter New Blood, and this is the final Dexter theories video because this week is the finale of Dexter New Blood. I'm pretty sure it's the series finale, but I'll talk about that more in a little minute. And in this video, we're going to be talking not only about the ending and what's going to happen, but also who is the mystery guest that will be appearing in the finale, who is a character from the original Dexter. And I also will be talking about some of the interviews and things the showrunner and other people associated with the show have said when it comes to the finale. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And if you are looking forward to the Dexter New Blood finale, leave a big like on the video and let me know any of your theories down in the comment section. So let's start out by talking about our mystery guest from the original show. And the showrunner did say that the mystery guest is someone new. So we know it's not going to be Batista or Trinity since we've already seen them. And what he said in these interviews, it definitely seems as though it's someone who's alive, like not someone who's going to appear in a flashback or some sort of apparition. So that really narrows things down because Dexter, a lot of the people close to him, obviously, met their demise in the original show. And when we are thinking about people who are main characters or were in their seasons, we're probably looking at, from Miami Metro anyway, Joey Quinn, Vince Masuka, and Captain Matthews. And the only other people I can really think of that are, one, still alive, and two, had a significant role in the show would be Lumen, who knows Dexter's secret and as far as we know is still out there, and also Jonah Mitchell, who is Arthur Mitchell's son, the Trinity killer. So that narrows the list down a lot. There are, of course, some other people who are more on the secondary or tertiary characters that could be involved. But the way that the showrunner phrased this, it sounds as though the returning guest, it won't be like a quick thing. They'll be quite significant to the storyline. So who do I think it is? I mean, when it comes to Miami Metro, I don't think that it's going to be Quinn, and I'm not super sold on Matthews. Masuka is probably the most likely out of those three, but the only thing that puts me off that is the fact that obviously the actor has said he's not coming back, and of course even if he was coming back he would say that. But I did read that someone said that they knew someone who got a cameo from him, and in the cameo, unprompted, he said how sad he was that he didn't get a call for New Blood. And I think if they're being asked directly about the show and they're in it, of course they're gonna lie because they don't want to spoil it. But when it's unprompted like that and the person hasn't even asked about New Blood and they mention it, that's why it kind of made me think, oh, maybe he's really not in it. I mean, we did see Masuka's name when Angela was Googling ketamine and all the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff, so I did think maybe that was setting something up, but then hearing that story kind of put me off it a little bit. So I still think Masuka is probably the most likely out of Miami Metro. And when it comes to the other people it could possibly be, I mean, Lumen is played by Julia Stiles. That's a well-known actress, and it's also someone who was obviously a love interest and also a really big character in season 5. But I just can't see how Lumen would fit in coming to Iron Lake. So I think that that's probably the least likely to happen. But the other person that is probably more likely than Lumen, but we'll see, is Jonah Mitchell, who was Arthur Mitchell's son. I mean, we do know Jonah's still out there, and also in, I think it was season 6 that Dexter went to Nebraska, and Jonah has the killer instinct as well. So this would kind of fall into the whole fathers and sons and killers. And obviously Trinity is the killer from the original show that's tied in the most to New Blood, with him being the person who killed Rita. So I do think that Jonah is more likely than Lumen, but honestly, it could be anyone, because I feel as though there's going to be some twist and turn in this final episode. I mean, enjoy a bet now and then. And I think if I had to put money down on who it would be out of these people, I'd hedge my bets with Masuka and Jonah Mitchell. So going into specifically how is everything going to end, I've read like a lot of interviews and just things that the showrunner and the cast and writers have said, as I'm sure a lot of people have, because the show has been a huge success and so many people are dying to know how it's all going to end. And the showrunner has said that the ending is inevitable, but it's going to be mind-blowing and to break the internet. And of course, their job is to hype up the show, but they have said this is the best thing they've ever written. And also the director said that this is the best thing they've ever directed. So that's a pretty high bar. And I know that if I was in this position and the ending to the original Dexter had been fucked up so much, obviously they didn't have anything to do with it, but I'd maybe be underselling it so that, undersell and over deliver is pretty much the motto that you should live by, but it may be really that good. So what are the 3 things that can possibly happen in most likely scenario? Is Dexter gets away, Dexter is caught, Dexter is killed. So those are the 3 scenarios most people are going with. And I know a really popular theory is that Harrison either kills Dexter or Dexter in some way sacrifices himself, whether that be jail or death, for Harrison. And while I think that those definitely have merit, I think that those would be pretty obvious. And then when it comes to Dexter and getting away, I mean, surely they cannot do that, because that's pretty much what we got in season 8, and we all know how well that worked out. So I think the most likely scenario is Dexter in some way sacrifices himself for Harrison. We've been shown over the course of New Blood that when it comes to his son, like, it's a very different case than Dexter with other people and his lack of emotion and stuff. And he has proven to just really want a connection with his son. The only thing that goes against this is I just can't see how this would be mind-blowing unless they just really are overselling it. And this probably isn't going to happen, but it just got me thinking in episode 9, whenever Harrison and Dexter are in the underground bunker and they have that moment when Dexter tells him that he killed Trinity, and Dexter leans over and kisses Harrison on the forehead. I know what that probably was a father and son like having a nice moment, but it just always makes me think when I see this on TV shows about the whole like Jesus and Judas and betrayal, and they always have in shows whenever a character betrays someone else, they present it like this so that there's symbolism and everything like that. And I also just am having a hard time buying things being so mind-blowing if Dexter is arrested, dies, or gets away with it, because that seems pretty obvious. So I think a really mind-blowing thing would be if Dexter showed himself to be the monster he always was portrayed as, and he in some way screwed over or sacrificed Harrison instead of himself. And the reason I also was thinking this is because episode 9, whenever Dexter is killing Kurt, we never really got scenes like that of Dexter chopping up the body. Like, it just, I mean, we've had gore in the show before, but that was really showing Dexter super gory. And a lot of the audience want this like happy ending for Dexter despite him being a monster. And it's, you know, that gray area of he's killing, but he's killing these murderers. And I mean, there's a reason that when Dexter explained the story about Wiggles, that he chose a child predator, like the worst of the worst of the worst. Because I mean, if you're going to try and portray yourself in a good light, you're going to take the hardest evidence you have. And another thing that got me thinking this was the showrunner and an interview he did where he was saying, you know, everything is fathers and sons, and he has issues in his own family with fathers and sons, and he said his dad was a bad guy. So it just would be kind of fitting if he's writing this. And he was also saying how obviously his own personal experiences are reflected in the material sometimes. And if he's saying his own father is a bad guy, it could line up where he's like, Dexter is, in some people's eyes, a bad guy. And how that comes out, like, does he really screw over Harrison, even though we've been shown all season that this is his son and he feels something for his son, whereas he doesn't with other people. And I just think that would be really mind-blowing if, you know, that happens. And it also is kind of inevitable because we have been shown the whole time we've known Dexter that he is a monster that's cutting people up, whether these people be murderers or whatever. But I mean, I know the most likely scenario is most likely that Dexter ends up either sacrificing himself for Harrison, or, I mean, what if they just did the ending that they've always said? Because that would also be inevitable, because Clive Phillips has always said his ending would have been Dexter getting the lethal injection and seeing all the people that he'd killed. So that's just, you know, putting that out there. It's fun to talk about and speculate about these things. So that's just one that I thought of too. The last thing to mention is Dexter going to have another season? In my opinion, no. There's only one kind of caveat to that, which I'll talk about in a second. And the reason that I don't think that there's going to be any more seasons is it's very rare for a show to have 2 or 3 seasons. Usually they have a lot more due to syndication and reruns. So if they were to do more seasons of Dexter, they're going to be pushing it into season 4 and 5 territory. And even with season 2 and 3, you run into this problem of exactly what happened with the original Dexter, in that you have to keep topping yourself. And I think most people would agree that Dexter really shone when it was seasons 2. I mean, 3 wasn't amazing, but 4, awesome. Even 5, I do like season 5 a lot, but 6, 7, and Lord 8 were just horrendous. And as the showrunner says, you know, they started breaking the agreement with the audience. The things just weren't Dexter anymore. And you're going to run into this problem if you have any more than this first season. Now, Dexter has been trying to come back for a while. They offered Michael C. Hall a bunch of other opportunities. I mean, there was one where Dexter was going to be a paramedic, and there was tons of other situations. I talked to quite a lot of people at Showtime, and it's this time that they came back, and I really think it's because they said, this is a one and done. We're fixing the horrendous ending, and then we're over it. I know a lot of people are also saying that there's 2 endings, and these rumors go around with every TV show when it's ending, and very, 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 very rarely is it ever true. And I think in Dexter's circumstance, it really could not be less true, because not only is it a fix of the ending, a one and done, they're not going any further, but also the writer and director and showrunner are all saying this is the best thing they've ever done. I mean, if you've done your best piece of work in your career, you're not going to have a backup plan. Like, it's your best piece of work. So I just can't see that happening. I can totally be wrong. And I've also asked people at Showtime, and again, like, they could not be telling me the truth, but I just think that it's a one and done, and it goes out on a high. I mean, it's so rare for that to actually happen anymore, because I mean, this is the only circumstance where it would change that, and that is money. And this show is making a lot of money for Showtime. The ratings have been insane, and you know, it's always about money's what always ruins it, because they just keep going and keep going when it should have ended ages ago. And that's for any show. You know, they just keep throwing money at, be it the stars or whatever it is, and it keeps them going. But I mean, Michael C. Hall really doesn't seem like that type of person. He seems pretty like down to earth and very much, you know, wants to do the best for the audience. So I think the fact that he's the lead too, and they can't really do it without him, that it's even more concrete that we probably won't get any more episodes. But you never know, because money corrupts. So they could offer them all just ridiculous money, and I'm sure it'd be hard for a lot of people to turn it down. So we shall see. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be crazy interviews, and we'll be talking about this for a long time to come, because going into this finale, I really do feel like anything could happen, and I think that's a great way to go into a finale. As I said, I mean, I think the most likely scenario is Dexter sacrifices himself for Harrison, or he dies or goes to jail, or some combination of those 3. But I would think it'd be pretty jaw-dropping if Dexter did in some way screw over Harrison or sacrifice him as opposed to the other way around. So is that what is inevitable? Is Dexter, you know, the monster that he's kind of always told us he is? We shall definitely see on Sunday anyway. So if you are wanting to watch Dexter at the second that it drops in the US, make sure that you check out my link with ExpressVPN that's down in the description box. You can get a couple of free months of a VPN if you use my affiliate link. And also, don't forget, I have a Patreon, a merch store, and you can also follow me on social media where I talk about all the shows that I cover. I'm also covering Yellow Jackets at the moment, which is excellent if you're not watching that. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a big like if you're looking forward to the finale of Dexter. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.